Have you ever seen a ghost? One woman did, and it completely changed her life. The year was 1974 and the place was Wally House in San Diego. Helen agreed to stay there too. But she had one condition. She didn't want to be alone. So the editor agreed to let her bring a friend, and that friend would be none other than famed psychic Peter Sellers. The woman was Helen Acton, a successful model and part-time psychic, who had an interest in all things paranormal. You see, before Helen and Peter arrived at the house, the staff at Reader's Digest wanted to check if the place was really haunted. They brought in a team of paranormal investigators led by the Fox TV personality. They also saw the ghost of a little girl who appeared to be no more than 6 or 7 years old. He told them that he and his wife Anna had been living in the house when it caught fire. He said that he tried to save his wife and children, but they all perished in the flames. Since then, he and his family have been haunting the house. But the scariest ghost of all was the one they encountered in the basement. Now, the ghost stories surrounding Wally House are so numerous that we can't cover them all here. But suffice it to say that these investigators had their work cut out for them. When the investigators went back into the house to check for damage, they found that the rocking chair was now facing the opposite direction. In fact, the paranormal investigators who went into the house with Helen and Peter also experienced strange phenomena. As for Helen, she became convinced that ghosts were real after her experience in Wally House. She spent the rest of her life trying to help people who believed they were communicating with the dead. She had heard about Whaley House, also known as the Whaley Jail, and its reputation for being one of the most haunted houses in America. It was then that she decided to rent the house for a photo shoot with Reader's Digest. If you want to learn more about Whaley House, I've included a link to a video about the house in the description. Thanks for watching. Reader's Digest sent over a team of photographers and writers who were all set to spend the night in the allegedly haunted house. You see, as Peter and Helen explored the rest of the house, they realized that the rocking chair was not the only thing moving on its own. Books were flying off shelves, doors were opening and closing on their own. Disembodied voices could be heard throughout the house. Now this is where things get weird. After spending the night in the house, the paranormal investigators said they couldn't find any ghosts. And so far, nothing unusual had happened during the photo shoot either. Helen and Peter were beginning to think that the whole thing was a hoax when suddenly, while exploring the basement, they found a locked room. On the door of the locked room was a sign that read, "Do not open under any circumstances." Naturally, this intrigued the ghost hunters, and so Peter and Helen decided to sneak in and take a look. Inside, they found a small, dark room with a single window. The room was empty except for a rocking chair that was gently swaying back and forth. Now this is where things took a turn for the worse, and then came the apparitions. Helen and Peter saw the ghost of a man in a top hat and a woman in a Victorian nightgown. It was the ghost of a man who introduced himself as Thomas Whaley. Helen and Peter were so frightened that they ran out of the house and never looked back. Now, some people might have written this story off as a tall tale. But Helen and Peter weren't the only ones who experienced strange phenomena in Whaley House. The investigators later said that they believed that Thomas Whaley and his family were real ghosts who had been haunting the house for years. So do you believe in ghosts? Let me know in the comments below.